Hello everyone and welcome to the summit, your premier destination for in-depth conversations and the most pressing topics shaping Rwanda and beyond. I'm your host Martina Abera, and today we're going to be diving into our country's most celebrated sports events, Tour du Rwanda, Beyond the Race. Tour du Rwanda has grown from a local cycling competition into an internationally recognized event, attracting elite athletes, global audiences, as well as significant businesses opportunities. And now the iconic event is boosting tourism and positioning Rwanda as a top MICE destination. So joining me today as we dive into this conversation is Samson Ndayishimiye, who is the president of Ferwacy. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Martina.
Yes, and Yves Genzi, who is the Director General of the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and together we're going to be unpacking on how Tour du Rwanda is driving business, attracting visitors, and putting Rwanda on the global map through its business as well as the sport in itself. So we're going to be starting off with you, Samson, the president of Ferwacy. We're gearing up for Tour du Rwanda, the 17th edition, in this year of 2025. How are the representatives of Rwanda prepared for it, or how is Ferwacy in general preparing for this edition this year?
Thank you. This edition is being prepared. It's actually started being prepared for some time now, given the fact that obviously, as you all know, we're hosting the World Championship here in Rwanda in September, and it happens to be the first World Championship for the world to come on the continent of Africa. So as a Ferwacy for the national team, we working together with the Ministry of Sport, we decided to change our normal plans. So the cyclists have been in a camp since end of October, around November, to give them enough time to work out and train. And they've just came back from a tour in Sharjah in the UAE, which was a success. It shows that giving them enough time to practice and get ready, it helps. But not only do we have the camp with the national team, we've added on also two teams that belongs here in Rwanda, which are continental teams. So they are training together with the Meister, and then we have also Java Innovatech.
Yes, we have seen that Tour du Rwanda is more than just the racing of cyclists, but also it does bring in an influx of various members from all over the world, all over the continent. So it has grown into one of Africa's most prominent cycling events, as we have seen over the course of the years. How is Ferwacy collaborating with the tourism sector to position the race as a major attraction for international visitors?
As you know, Tour du Rwanda takes 8 days. So our best practice is to make sure that we go throughout the whole country, and that gives an opportunity for all the districts we visit. So if we're finishing, let's say in Huye, it means that we will sleep in Huye. We are there not only with the cyclists and their team and their coaches and their sponsors, but we also, as a federation, we also have sponsorships we get from local companies. They do caravans that goes on an hour or 30 minutes before the tour. It's sort of like visibility we give them. So that means they also come with the big teams. So all these people we all stay in the same area. So if you think about it, we're talking about hotels, we're talking about other attractions that they may have in that area for people to visit. We're talking about food, beverages, and all that. So there's something that's left behind everywhere we go.
Yes. Over to you, Yves. As the Director General of Rwanda Chamber of Tourism, how does Tour du Rwanda contribute to the overall tourism goals of Rwanda, and especially the benefits that it brings to the tourism sector in general?
Right. So as we had been mentioned, indeed, Tour du Rwanda is one of the events, is one of the tools that is used to promote Rwanda as a destination, as a tourism destination. Definitely, when we have Tour du Rwanda, we have a lot of journalists, we have a lot of coverage that showcase our beauty, the sceneries of the destination, and attract at the same time people to come. And as he was saying, definitely when there is this kind of competition, this kind of event, it's not only a tool for promotion, but also at the same time, it's a tool for tourism growth. We benefit in terms of tourism growth because we have all those teams, the fans that are coming in the country, staying definitely in the properties, using our transportation, but also getting to visit the different destinations. But also at the same time, it also generates jobs. When we have such events, there is jobs that are generated. For example, when we have, what we've noticed, when we have Tour de Rwanda, along these corridors where they go, the occupancy of hotels goes higher, above 80%, which is a good sign and which is a very good thing for us in the tourism sector.
Yes. Do you think, you just spoke about the importance of media and showcasing the beauty of the country. The tour does take place in a span of 8 days, and different provinces are being visited, especially also in the city of Kigali. Does the impact of media really do justice to promoting the opportunities that are here in the country in terms of the ability for people to come and visit the beauty of the country?
Yes, indeed. When we have, I think that is one of the key things that we are looking into when we have such events. Is really promoting the destination, having coverage, international coverage of the destination beyond the continent, but worldwide. And I think it's one of the areas that we always partner with, being RDB and RCB when we have such events, to be able to provide customized packages, customized itineraries for people who are coming. So basically, media is very important because we know that Rwanda has put a lot of efforts into doing promotions, Visit Rwanda, and other campaigns, and using sports. So I believe this is a very good tool that we are having, and we are ready to say that to be using it and to have more of the events coming into the country.
Yes, thank you. So Samson, this year it's the 17th edition, but also Rwanda as a whole is going to be hosting the championship in September. So there is increased emphasis on sports as a MICE. And how do you think the Federation is planning to leverage Tour du Rwanda to attract business, tourism, and international sporting delegations?
So we've made some plans, especially with this 17th edition. It's a little bit different than what we normally do. This year we have our, let's say, the last stage, which happens here in Kigali, the final day. We are doing the same exercise. We're doing the circuit that we're going to be using in the World Championship. Mm-hmm. That's going to attract a lot of people. As you know, we are known to be a country of 1,000 hills. So a lot of riders are excited. They are not going to be participating, but I know for sure we have some of their management teams, members of the management teams that are here for the sake of seeing exactly what we're talking about. This circuit here in Kigali, it's going, the World Championship, is going to be one of the toughest one because of the hills we have, the elevation. Last year, the World Championship in Zurich, they had around 4,000 plus meters of elevation. Rwanda, we're giving them 5,000, so that's like 1,000 meters difference, and it means a lot. It means that it's for the best riders. So those are the measures we are taking. For example, this, doing that exercise, not only for the riders, but also for us as the local organizing committee. We need to know the do's and don'ts. So it's sort of like a practice run.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of things that goes behind all this. So we're talking about, for example, you in the media, so we're talking about the screens at the finish line, the archway that has got the screens. All those things have to be used, and so we can take notes and make sure that we're ready for September while we host the World Championship.
Yeah, it's basically like a sneak peek into what's going to take place in September.
Yes.
Yes, and how do you think the growth of the preparations of Tour de Rwanda over the years, over the editions, has prepared you for the championship that is going to be taking place in September? I'm sure there's a lot that has been learned. There is different ways in which the Federation has bettered itself to be able to project itself as a country that can be able to host the championship. Championship. What do you think Rwanda has gained in the course of learning so much over the years in regards to preparing itself for the championship in September?
So let me not speak for the sake of the federation only. On this particular question, I think I have to, first of all, recognize all the efforts and the hard work that goes behind the scene. When we talk about cycling, it's not only the federation and the riders. There's so many other people involved. So we're talking about the government. You can't have a successful tour without the infrastructure. And that's what we get from our government. So they are working with us very closely in regards of where we're going to pass, the roads. That's exactly the most important thing, which we always are thankful for that. We're talking about tourism, for example, everything they do to have the right standard for all these international visitors that we have, not only the riders, but also people visiting. So as you can imagine, as a federation, we are just part of the whole thing. Tour de Rwanda started around the end of 1980s, right? And it's grown. You all know before 2019, around that time, it's when we came from 2.1 level to 2.2. So in football terms, we're probably talking around the difference of a league. So these are, stronger and better riders than the ones who are coming on 2.1. And Tour de Rwanda is also on the current of UCI, Union Cyclisme International, where a lot of people do come in here, including our riders, to gain UCI points, which helps them to be able to qualify for the World Championship. So all that, putting it together, it means that we're learning as we go. Ideally, in the future, if you ask me, we most likely will be focusing on moving from 2.1 level to a world tour. So a world tour is a different level now. You're talking about a lot of other things that has to be considered. But yeah, we've come a long way, but I do believe as a federation we also have to be grateful for our government and everything that gets put in place that makes our sport more interesting and attractive for the rest of the world.
Yes. Eve, conversations about making sports not just an entertainment or luxury activity, but also a business hub, has been taking place for quite some time now. And His Excellency has also talked about the different opportunities that can come from making sports into business generators. Now, Tour de Rwanda is not just a race, it's also an opportunity to showcase the country, like we've talked about, visiting the different provinces as well as in the city here in Kigali. And you also briefly talked about the various benefits of that, but maybe as you go into specific examples, how is Rwanda Chamber of Tourism integrating this event into the broader strategy of positioning Rwanda as a MICE destination?
Right. So the Chamber of Tourism, we are an apex body for the private sector. Basically, we represent the interests of the private sector in tourism. So what we do, and we work closely, working closely with our partners in the government, is one, sports tourism. We know our going by the vision that we have for tourism. For example, if we look at the medium-term vision, NST2, is to come from where we are currently to around $600 million in revenues to $1.1 billion US. So that means we have to grow by 80%. Tourism has to grow in the next 5 years by 80%. So what it means, and what we've been working on with the lead of RDB is looking at areas that have potential for growth, and these areas, of course, include the sports tourism. And we've seen, as was being mentioned, that the government has invested heavily in world-class infrastructure for sports tourism, and this has brought a number of events to be held here because of the investment that has been done. And for us as the private sector, one, we are ready to ensure that those investments will bring a return into having more and more events, working to bid for more sporting events, but also to provide the support for being accommodation, being transportation, logistics for events, and also working closely with other events organizers worldwide to bring events here in Rwanda and sporting events here in Rwanda. So I would say it's a comprehensive strategy that has been put in place to ensure that we do not only rely on national parks, on the ecotourism, but also we have other experiences that we're able to sell, including sports tourism, culture, heritage, but also other sorts of events in the MICE ecosystem. So we've also put in place an association of professional conference organizers, which is also under the Chamber of Tourism, and this brings together all the players in the MICE sector coming together to strategize together, but also to work together to be able to strengthen our offerings in terms of MICE as a destination.
Yes, you did speak about the infrastructure that has greatly improved. We have seen this with the newly revised Amahoro Stadium, as well as BK Arena and various other sporting facilities that we're seeing all over the city and also countrywide. Do you think this is definitely going to form as an incentive to boost private sector investment into the sport and making sure it can bring about businesses such as employability and whatnot?
Definitely. Definitely, whenever that we have such infrastructure, we've had of Formula One, the bid for Formula One, and we are all excited. We're all excited about that, and the infrastructure that always comes. For example, if we are to have this circuit of Formula One. Around it, there will be a lot of opportunities for us, being in accommodation, in transport, and etc. So we are always eager when we see such opportunities come, the infrastructure being put in place, and we are always working together with the relevant government authorities. One, to see to look at the potential, to discuss the potential in that particular area, being in that particular sport, and to see what, as a private sector, how we can come in to put in being infrastructure, but also to improve even the services that we are being provided, being hotel services, tour services, so that they are being offered that are customized to events, that are customized to this kind of infrastructure that are being put in place.
Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Samson. We are seeing the growth of Tour du Rwanda, the cycling sport in general in Rwanda. So it is only our hope that there can also be sustainability. So what are the key strategies that the Federation is employing to nurture young talent and encourage widespread participation in the cycling community, especially at the grassroots level, as Rwanda is now hosting highly competitive cycling events?
Yeah, so we've not only just because of the World Championship, but as part of plans for the future, planning for the future, I think His Excellency has always said that it's always, what about the academies, what about the youth? So we've been doing projects with the under development plan for cycling. A lot of people think of Federation, they think about Tour du Rwanda, but in reality we have more. We do 2 races a month in different parts of the country. One of those races is for youth races, where you get kids from a very early age that starts coming in, the parents bring them in, the teams bring them in, and that develops them also to love cycling and get noticed by the presidents of the clubs which are affiliated to the federation, and hence where you get them to come into the cycling world easily. And then we have the elite races, which also happens once a month. Now, on the development side, I think I can even confirm, for the sake of thinking ahead, we've also approached the Union Cyclisme International, UCI, given the fact that when it comes to Rwanda, we're a visa-free country, and because of something like that the government has given us, apart from the infrastructure I'm telling you about, or the working too closely with the police and everything, The UCI is now offered Rwanda to have a satellite. Satellite is like a school. It's going to be the second satellite to be open on the road race in Africa. So we are opening that this coming Sunday. So all that is part of not only the legacy for the World Championship, but to make sure that we start from the roots, as you said, start from the bottom. So all these youngsters are the future for Rwanda in cycling.
Yes, and that's very interesting because, like you said, sometimes when someone thinks of cycling or Fergosi, they may only tend to look at Tour du Rwanda, which is one of the biggest events of the federation. But how can the federation or even Rwanda in general bring more awareness to these other small, or not even small, but these other side events that take place in cycling, so that the youth or the youngins can be able to start at the grassroots or be exposed to these cycling events, so that the idea of cycling or the federation does not only be linked to Tour du Rwanda.
So again, as I just said, we're talking about development plans where we're educating them, and then we give them the opportunity to race once a month, so that attracts something to do for these kids. Now, Tour du Rwanda, I also forgot to tell you that we did last year the first edition of Junior Tour. So we're no longer going to be talking about just the Elites Tour. So this one is a Junior Tour. It only happens last year we did 3 days, because we wanted to see if these kids are capable of going all the way to Rwamagana and coming back to Kigali, and we realized that they're very strong and ready. So this year we are doing the second edition for 4 days. So, and it's also going to help us, because this one doesn't involve UCI points or qualifications of this and this, but it attracts more kids, because it's always going to be in the summer. It's going to be every year. So that's something us as a federation we're pushing for, to not only encourage these kids, but also the other kids in West Africa, in the rest of Africa, and even Europe, because it's always going to be in the summer. So you can imagine, as a kid, if you have an opportunity to practice throughout the year, to be able to participate in Tour du Rwanda for 4 days, we believe that it's a very good opportunity and attraction. But not only that, we also have other programs that come in with the government through Minisport. So we have this program called Isonga. It's a partnership between the government, Minisport, and the French Embassy, where they are supporting sports in different schools. At the moment, I think it's 3 schools in Rubavu, Rwamagana, and somewhere else. And these sports, we're talking about football, we're talking about volleyball, basketball, and cycling is also in there. So these sports being supported with this program of Isonga, we believe that a lot of students and many other schools in the future we're going to join will be giving us more young people thinking that, okay, you know what, sport is healthy, but sports can also be a job, a second job after qualifying, for example, for finishing university and stuff like that. So yes.
Yeah, very interesting. Back to you, Eve. What specific programs or initiatives are being put in place to be able to capitalize on the influx of visitors that are going to be coming in during Tour du Rwanda? But not only this cycling event, but when there are other sporting events, how does the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism be able to convert the interest into future business travels, making sure that the influx of the visitors coming in for such events like Tour du Rwanda is not taken lightly?
Yeah, right. That's a good question. One is Tour du Rwanda for us is much more than cycling and the sport. We look at it as also an investment opportunity, as an event that can bring us investments in tourism, showcasing, of course, the different opportunities that are there. What we are doing, what we do as the chamber is one, to ensure that we are ready, number one, to welcome these visitors, to ensure that they get a good experience while they are here. Number two is to put in place packages, itineraries that are ready for anyone coming for this particular event. to be able to experience Rwanda, be able to visit Rwanda, wherever that they may want to go. So we have these ready, prepared. So anyone that may be coming through or may want to come back, but also may want to come back to visit, we are able to capitalize on that and have this person stay in Rwanda. What we also do in terms of when we have events in the country, of course, this is a collaboration that we always have with the RDB and RCB, is we also put in place some side events. Of course, at some of the hotels, they put up, when we inform them, we tell them this we're going to have on this date, they will be in this particular area. We inform them in advance, tell them please prepare for some events. At the hotels, have some music, some bands or any other entertainment, or even other opportunities inclusive of. And also we try and see how we can ensure that the community is also benefiting, meaning those that will be selling, sell handcrafts, but also ensuring that they're involved as well in this kind of opportunities. And I think that is something that also Fergusi and the ministry are doing very well. So I think there is a lot that are done to ensure that we capitalize on such events that when they come, and it's something that is we are still building on.
Yes, and over the course of the years, in terms of creating such side events for not only Tour du Rwanda but other sporting events, how do you think it has grown in terms of those that do come for the side events, the summits, the exhibitions, and also opportunities for the locals to showcase their products? Do you think that there is a growth in the people who are actually attending these side events?
Definitely, yes. There is a lot of growth. There are even some events that are started as side events for bigger conferences or bigger events, but ended up to become permanent kind of events. And definitely there is, in terms of participation, we see a lot of growth. Now, I believe if not only during Tour du Rwanda, but if you look at today, the events calendar that we have, not the big conferences, but I'm talking about smaller events that we have. We have now a number of big choice. People can now have, mention it, I mean, whatever that people want is still growing, but we see a lot of improvement from where we were a few years back to what is offered today in terms of events being during the week. We never used to have a lot of events during the week, but also now we have events happening at different hotels, at different locations during the week, but also even the weekends, it's becoming busy.
Yes, thank you for that information. And Samson, you did talk about the different ways in which the Federation is grooming for young talent and providing these opportunities for people to access the cycling in a more efficient way. But for this Tour du Rwanda in general, what is the Federation's strategy for identifying, training, as well as supporting the elite cyclists to be able to compete at international levels?
So that one is very easy. We have a national team coach and an assistant coach. Felix, who's the assistant coach, has been cycling for so many years. And again, all the 10 clubs that are affiliated with the Federation, 10, 11 clubs, they all know each other. So it's much more easier for the national team coach to actually attend all the races we do. Like I said, we have 12 races throughout the year where they gain also points. So this one helps the national coach to identify the right talent. And then when he picks the talents, for example now, the first camp doesn't go just with the team that we're going to see on Tour du Rwanda on the starting line. There's always a bigger team. So he gives them more challenges until he chooses at the last minute. But it gives him more opportunities, given the fact, obviously, that he's followed them while they're in their clubs throughout all these other competitions we do through the year. So it becomes much more easier. And I can proudly say that we even have a timing system these days, so which shows that everyone knows their points at the end of each race. So yes.
Yes, 100%. Thank you. And moving back to the growth of tourism here in Rwanda in general, Rwanda has positioned itself as a tourist destination, and in turn, due to media and how the beauty of showcasing what Rwanda has to offer in terms of the tourism sector and how much it has grown in general, there's a lot of expectations, good expectation. How does that push the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism in terms of providing or beating the expectations that the people coming into the country have? Is it more of a motivation? Is it a bit challenging? Can you briefly tell us about the whole experience in terms of how Rwanda has grown in terms of its tourism image and the goodness of what it has done towards contributing to the economy?
All right, that is a very good question, which may take some time to be able to respond, but I'll try and summarize it in a few things. Maybe when we look at where the tourism industry has come from, starting maybe after the genocide, where we would our core and tourism product was mountain gorillas. And I think at that point we had around less than 50 gorilla permits to sell a day. So, and that is your only core kind of tourism product being sold. But as we're talking now, not only the gorilla permits have increased, but also even the products that we offer as a destination. We're no longer relying on only national parks. We have a lot of things to be offered. The length of stay has increased tremendously. When we look at, people used to come here as an add-on destination. After visiting Serengeti in Tanzania or Masai Mara in Kenya, they will come and to do gorillas in Rwanda particularly, and then go back. So that means 2 days, 3 days maximum for a stay. But today, the number of national parks have grown to 4. We have several other attractions. People now can spend 2-3 days in Kigali alone, doing different experiences. So, and that is, the growth has come in all sides, talking about the number of flights, the number of airlines, the rooms, the accommodation that we were providing then, and are now over to 20,000 rooms. We used to have even a challenge where on accommodation, specifically people, when we would host big events, not having enough rooms, good rooms to be able to accommodate these people. But this issue is being solved because of the number of rooms that we are now having. So the growth has come on all sides, being in terms of products, in terms of tourist arrivals, in terms of revenues. So that, for us, it is a good thing. I would say it's a good thing because if you look at the employment, tourism is employing almost 200,000 people in the country. So that's 10% of off-farm jobs in the country. So it's big, it's huge. So not only for employment that is generating, but it's also bring revenues. It is also for us, it's giving us a challenge definitely to be able to ensure that we compete globally, because we compete with different destinations. Of course, after COVID-19, we had to reset and change a few things and re-strategize and see what do we improve in terms of in tourism. But it has been a good journey. We still have, of course, a number of challenges, including ensuring that our services at a global stage level, we are providing world-class services, and a few other issues that we still have to work on. But definitely we are seeing that as a very good challenge, and also looking at where we are heading. And the target, I was talking about the NST2 targets to ensure that tourism is generating 1.1 billion in the next 4 years and a half. So that also shows that we need to work very hard, we need to strategize and ensure that we don't only rely on the usual way we used to do business.
Thank you. It's always great to hear the specifics as well as the statistics of how much the tourism sector has grown over the years, and also projections as the tourism sector and what hopes it has in general for the country. So maybe this can be answered by both of you. We've been talking about sports, Tour du Rwanda to be specific, but also business tourism. But how do you both view the intersection of sports and business tourism, and how can Rwanda continue to leverage major events like Tour du Rwanda to drive economic growth?
If I may,
please do.
The simple example is things like this, like Tour du Rwanda. There may be a new rider coming from an international team who's going to go back home and talk about Rwanda. I had an experience last year where one of the biggest name who was here, Chris Vroom, I think we had reached Rusizi. And then at night, during dinner, he comes to me and goes like, man, I don't understand your roads. I've slept here before. And this is the way I came in, it's not how I came in. So you can imagine all this goes back to different other communities, and not only in cycling, but also, you know, the fans who become also Visit Rwanda members. We've seen people come back most of the time with their bikes, sometimes not even telling us. And you hear someone saying that in our center in Musanze, there's someone who just cycled from Kigali all the way to Musanze. So that's the attraction we get, and that's the leverage of the economic impact through the government giving us the access for being able to host events like this, because there's a lot of work. Let me repeat it again, there's a lot of work that goes in behind everywhere where we spend the night or where we go through. You can imagine the mayors, now they're busy making sure that everything is on spot. The schools, you get the schools that have kids on the road who may be the future world championship. So all those hard work, the police, because we have to, for safety, the roads are closed for a period of time. So, and then the media. We've not started having Tour du Rwanda as a live broadcasted sport, but it's one of the targets that we're looking at as plans for the future. Because then you can imagine these helicopters or drones, similar thing to, let's say, Tour de France, you know, where it happens for once a year for 21 days. Ours just 8 days, but those 8 days can be leveraged by using the media at the right time and showcasing the whole beauty of Rwanda. Yes.
He has said it all, maybe. Just maybe to complement. So in terms of these kind of events, we call them like homegrown events. These are events that are not, you see, when you have like an international conference coming to Rwanda, maybe it will come once or two consecutive years. But an event like Tour du Rwanda, that is a local homegrown event becoming international, it means a lot. It means a lot for us, because that's what we are also striving at the chamber, to have this kind of homegrown kind of events, being in sports but also in other fields. So we've been working on this strategy to have a number of events on our own, working with closely with our members. There are a number of events that already our members are having on their own. We'll mention working together, of course, with the government, Ironman, and many other sporting events. BAL work together with, of course, the promoters. And they also want to have our own. Now we have some events not in sports, but maybe in the future. We've been running what we call the Tourism Week. We have other events like Restaurant Week and others. but also why not having other events such as Tourist Rwanda that are homegrown, that are based here, and that we know that every year they will be promoting a destination, they will be generating tourism growth, but also jobs for our people.
Yeah, thank you very much. You did speak about the role of media as a tool of not only showcasing but also marketing. But if you could tell us some of the lessons that have been learned from previous editions of Tour du Rwanda in terms of marketing Rwanda internationally, and how are those lessons being applied into this new year, but also into the championship that the Federation is preparing for?
Yeah, as a growing sport, we've come a long way, but then with how the technology is also grown, we're trying to catch up. So we have a focal point for communication, who focuses on all our social media platforms, and that attracts not only the locals but also the international level. And it also helps us in terms of approaching potential sponsorships, sponsors to get sponsorships. So through media, through what we can see, you know, a lot of us, we like what we see. So it's much more easy, and I encourage any other sports to always think about it. This particular year is a little bit special, obviously, with the World Championship. We're having a lot of other entities that normally work in organizing this, but they've come in strongly this year because, again, like I said, the last day, we're going to be doing an exercise that is similar to the World Championship. So I'm talking here on RSCB and RDB, who also understand very well the point of marketing and the importance of social media. So that helps us very much in attracting a lot of people. But on the cycling itself, again, as I said, me personally and my team, we do believe that Tour du Rwanda should be put, we should find a way to make it an international broadcasted live TV. It will make my life much more easier because then I won't have limitation on asking for sponsorships just by local companies, big local companies, who we are really thankful for. You know, we have a lot of good companies with us that have been with us for so many years. But with as you can imagine, having that 8 days live broadcasted in so many countries should make our lives much more easier in attracting potential sponsors who don't need to probably be here, but we will be also attracting them to come here and open their businesses here. But most importantly is to make sure that they feel at home with us and we'll be able to help on the tourism industry and our sports also.
Yeah, 100%. With the role of media and the growth of everything being digitalized and everything being showcased on social media, it does bring a lot of benefits, and it would definitely benefit the Federation in terms of making it easier for people to see the benefits of why they should invest in the sport and what it would do for the whole sport in general. Yeah,
and also I believe that it helps us to reach to so many other people, potential visitors to visit Rwanda. So far in the past, most of international people I've met, not only in Rwanda, some of them are talking about gorillas, visiting the gorilla, coming to see the big five. So you can see the social media platforms are very helpful. Someone may be sitting at home just going through their X profile or things like that, and then see things that are happening in Rwanda, you know, and that would make click something in them to say, you know what, this is on my bucket list, visit Rwanda, as they say. So, yeah, very important.
Yes. For you, Yves, what collaborative efforts do you think are in the pipeline for the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism and other sporting facilities or federations can we expect in the coming years to be able to further enhance Rwanda's image on the global stage?
Well, from our side as an apex body, I was saying that we do have actually we have 7 associations that work in tourism, and one of them being the Association of Professional Conference Organizers, who work in the MySpace and who do sports events as well, among other of the events that they do. Of course, they already having a number of events that they are hosting locally, including sporting events. So for us, In terms of partnerships that we do at the level of the chamber, of course, we don't do, for us, we don't do really destination marketing, which is, again, on the side of the tourism board, which is RDB. What we do is mostly to create business opportunities for these members, basically to ensure that these members who are operating in the tourism sector and the events sector, they're able to meet up with potential partners to bring these events locally. So one of them is to go with them to international trade fairs and events that are hosted for MICE business. And through those exhibition and trade fairs and road shows, they're able to make the right connections and the partnerships that that bring business here. We don't host directly them, but through our members, they're the ones who now build those partnerships and sign those deals with those event organizers and the agents who bring those events, and now they're able to host them here. So that is mainly our role. So is to make the linkage, our local operators, but also with the international agents that host those events, that are able to connect and bring partnerships here.
Yes. Before I ask you about the preparations of Tour du Rwanda, the 17th edition, I'm sure the people are dying to know, first of all, the preparations of the championship that is going to be taking place in September. Can you give us like a sneak peek of how it's going, the excitement, what people should expect? Of course, there should be some room for surprises, but also in terms of the federation preparing for the championship, which is going to be such a huge event, not only for the country, but for the world in general, having it being hosted in Rwanda. How is it going in terms of preparations?
I would say it's going really well. Again, it's not only the federation. We have other institutions that are working closely to us, given the fact that it's a world championship. It's going to be, again, the first one on the continent of Africa after 125 years. So it's big. It's big. It's big. I would say people should be excited, as I am, and my colleagues and everyone who are working closely together with us. It's going to be in Kigali. The first we're going, it's going to come all the way to Gahanga. This is the first 4 days. And then the next 4 days, it's going to be here in Nyarutarama, Kigali Convention Center. I think you've seen some work happening there. And then on the last day, we have a big group, which will take them all the way from convention. After doing the ropes, they will be doing the big group, which will take them to the roundabout in city Kigali, and then going all the way to Nyabugogo, all the way towards the factory of bricks, and then going that hill, the top hill, the one that challenges a lot of people, so Norvège, and then coming back through Nyamirambo. So it's exciting, again, very competitive because of the elevation we have as a country of 1,000 hills. We do have a lot of meetings in preparation, so which to me it's a good thing. It feels like it's happening tomorrow. It means that we will have enough room. We hope we will have enough room to do a bit of double and triple checking everything that we've put in place. He talked about side events. We're also looking into those which have to be there as a world championship. We also do them in Tour du Rwanda anyway, so it makes life easier in different areas of Kigali. As we expect many visitors, but also the Rwandans themselves, we're encouraging them to be part of this historical moment. And then, let me just stop there so I don't give out everything.
Yes. Maybe for more clarification, for those who don't know much about the championship, what differentiates it from what they normally know as Tour du Rwanda? You did talk about it being mostly centered in the city of Kigali, also a few days.
Yeah, so Tour du Rwanda, it's on UCI calendar. So all these international riders and our riders, our cyclists, are doing Tour du Rwanda because it's on the calendar. They gain points for UCI, for elites. So it means that those points will give them an opportunity to qualify at the end of the year, almost at the end of the year, to be part of the championship, right? Which at the moment, last year was in Zurich, this year it's in Rwanda, next year it's in Montreal in Canada, so it goes all over the world. Not everyone gets to have a chance to go in it, mostly because they haven't gained enough points that are recognized to participate. This one here in Rwanda is a little bit different. We're encouraging a lot of other countries also to not only come for the Congress that also will take place here, but to also come to register their junior, as we talked earlier about development plans, so that their flags can be here. A lot of juniors, actually the junior category and the women category do not need the UCI qualification points, okay? So they can be registered from different countries and come to participate. So this tool, the Rwanda, facilitates the elites to gain points, UCI points, to be able to attend the World Championship worldwide. Sorry.
Thank you very much for that clarification.
Thank you.
Maybe as we come to the end of this conversation, I would like to ask you if, beyond this year's edition, in terms of Tour du Rwanda, what long-term opportunities do you see for using major sporting events in general to anchor Rwanda's reputation as a leading MICE destination in Africa?
Yeah, there is indeed a lot of opportunities along sporting events. Of course, we all are aware of what is maybe in the pipeline, talking about F1, but also other sporting events that may be coming in the near future. So we see that there is a lot of opportunities, specifically for people who may want to invest along those events, because there is a lot of opportunities for investment into the events themselves, but also in creating some other events and supporting as well as the existing events in terms of sponsorships, but also other things. So I would say that we are very optimistic because this is what we see as our next frontier in terms of growth for tourism. Because if you look at the growth that we are aiming at, we cannot rely only on the national parks, on the attractions that we have. So we have to rely on other things, and one major thing that we are relying on is on sports events to be brought here in the next 5 years. So there is an aggressive plan to market, to be able to have not only develop the athletes, to develop the events themselves, the infrastructure, so that we have a MICE industry that is strong, very, very strong. So that's something that I know that the government is very keen on working on, but for us as the private sector, what we do is to ensure that our members are ready to take those opportunities, to invest in them, but also to work closely with the event organizers when, as they are also members of the chamber, to ensure that the events that are there, they are successful, they are generating income, but also return on the investment that people are putting in.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's get back to Tour du Rwanda. It's starting on the 23rd of Feb, going all the way to the 2nd of March. Let's talk about the final stages of the preparation in terms of the roads, the local communities, people surrounding your collaboration with the Rwanda National Police to make sure that there is safety, but also there is space for the people to be able to cycle in peace without interruption of people driving on those same roads. How is that going, especially in the last moments gearing up to the 17th edition?
It's going well. I think we're on schedule as far as we can tell. It's always nice to prepare ahead. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So yeah. I think we're a little bit ahead, which is a good thing. We work very closely again with all the mayors of the mayor from different cities we're going to go through. We work closely with RTDA for infrastructure and all that. We For example, for the first time, the road for Nyanza-Bugesera is part of the circuit we're going to use. So they're finishing that up. It's going to be opened through the cycle for the first time on this 17th edition. No, the preparation is going really well. Again, police, we always work together. It's become like a smooth transaction. And we're very thankful to having them because safety is very important to us and for the public also. And then everyone else, our sponsors, they are ready because they don't not only sponsor us, the Federation for Tour du Rwanda, but they also have other responsibilities. So they have to get ready for their teams who are going to be able to interact with the public, using the caravan throughout the roads we're using till the finish line. Remember, cycling is the only sport that public, anybody doesn't need to plan on how they're going to leave their house.
Yeah. Because
we reach to them, we go all the way to them, and then they don't need to plan about the budget of paying a stadium. You know, at the end of the day, we're public sport, so they all come at the finish line, and that interaction with our sponsors, if it's a bank that needs to educate people to open their accounts, or if someone who's got anything else to put on the table, it's always great. So we are all working together on the side of preparation for that. But again, I'm coming back to our sponsors. They also are busy preparing the 8 days ahead of them.
Yes. Maybe on a lighter note, Tour du Rwanda is one of the most anticipated events of the country in terms of the excitement, not only for cycling, but you did talk about how the cyclists do reach the people, do reach the residents, the citizens, but also the life that it brings, the excitement, the nightlife, people having to travel from different destinations and whatnot. If you could talk about some of the highlights that you as an individual have experienced over the years, or even the Federation or the people that you've worked with over the years in terms of some of the great experiences that you've had during Tour du Rwanda as you're gearing up for this edition?
That's a good question and very easy for me to answer. For information, I joined Tour du Rwanda way before as a driver.
Oh,
I was driving the neutral car. Okay. And I swear to God, from that first tour that I was a driver in, I did tell my friends that I work in the Tour du Rwanda that it wasn't going to matter where I'm going to be in the future in the world. I will be coming to attend Tour du Rwanda. And now that I'm the president of the federation, I can tell you that I get phone calls from different type of people that I don't even know, right? Trying to get jobs in Tour du Rwanda because of that attraction. Not just because they want to earn money, but it's to be part of this exciting week, right? And it's hard to give them the jobs because I joined and I decided that I was never going to leave. And trust me, since I have people who've been in Tour du Rwanda since 1990s that never leave, you know, so they have other jobs, but when it comes to this particular time of the year, their bosses know that they have to take a holiday. So it's not only for the excitement and the working, also it's an opportunity for everyone to visit Rwanda. You know, I've had friends who've called me and say, okay, where are you guys going to be today? Where are you guys going? And then they'll follow the whole journey that we're doing to come and visit. So it's an exciting thing. And as I said, it's homegrown. And I think I should say that I'm proud to be sitting here on behalf of the Cycling Federation and the country itself. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And lastly, for you, Eve, what are some of the highlights that you've experienced as being the Director General of the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism in terms of being able to collaborate with some of these federations, different sporting facilities and whatnot, and the joy that you can see that it brings to the people when they get to view the country in a brand new light?
Yeah, indeed. So as it has been said, it is really an exciting time, and it fits very well into our domestic tourism strategy in terms of ensuring that even locals are visiting the destination. So it is really an opportune time, as we've been discussing, that we take time off, we ensure that we are visiting. Not only that it's good for our health, but also we are also promoting local tourism. So it is really a very, very exciting time that I think all of us should be able to go out there and be into the events together with the federation and other people.
Yes, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but it was an amazing conversation. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of the summit. We've explored how Tour de Rwanda is more than just a race. It is a powerful engine of tourism, as well as a strategic tool in positioning Rwanda as a leading MICE destination. And a special thank you to my guest, Samson Ndayishimiye, who's the president of Ferwasi, as well as Yves. Thank you so much, the Director General of the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism. Thank you for the insights and for sharing how Rwanda continues to blend sports, business, and hospitality. Until next time, I am Martina Avera. Stay tuned and see you next week.